The emerald silk coat with its golden thread patterns felt out of place among the grimy corridors of Nexus Station. Sir Edmund Ashworth, at 65, had planned to spend his remaining years managing his holdings on Terra Nova rather than wandering through frontier outposts in the Centauri Rim. "Last Margaret for choosing now to retire," he grumbled, adjusting his platinum cufflinks. "Half a century of faithful service, and his chief administrator decides to pursue botanical studies, just when his shipping empire needed steady hands. A hyperdrive failure had stranded him here for at least 4 standard days. The station's chief engineer, a gap-toothed Rigelian, assured him the repairs were proceeding as fast as possible, which in frontier speak meant whenever they felt like it. His stomach reminded him he hadn't eaten since morning. Spotting a flickering hologram advertising Zara's Cantina, Edmund sighed and altered his path. Even the finest gentlemen sometimes had to make do with questionable establishments. The cantina's atmosphere matched its reputation. Dimly lit, reeking of synthetic spirits, populated by spacers who avoided direct eye contact. Edmund approached the bar where a weathered Altarian with calculating yellow eyes cleaned glasses with a dubious cloth. "What brings nobility to my humble establishment?" the bartender asked, his voice like grinding metal. "Whatever approximates." "Brandy in this place," Edmund replied, placing a platinum credit disc on the counter. "Plus information. I require competent domestic staff. My previous aide retired without notice." The Altarian's laugh was bitter. "Domestic help on Nexus Station. You'd have better luck finding honest politicians." His gaze shifted toward a shadowy corner. "Though there might be one option." Following his look, Edmund noticed her, a young humanoid with azure skin scrubbing floors with a worn brush. Silvery locks hung like curtains around her face, hiding features that suggested beauty beneath obvious neglect. Her patched clothing hung loose on her undernourished frame. When she glanced up briefly, Edmund caught sight of eyes like winter sky, and a mouth missing several teeth. "The Aquarian girl," Zara muttered, noting Edmund's interest. "Won her contract from a vegan smuggler in a dice game. Useless creature. Barely speaks standard. And look at those teeth." The girl looked up again, offering a tentative smile too. A patron who dropped a coin. The gaps in her dental work were painfully obvious. "What caused the dental damage?" Edmund inquired, struggling to hide his revulsion. Zara shrugged dismissively. Former owner believed in harsh discipline. Sighed. "It improved obedience. Personally, I think it just reduces their market value." Something cold crystallized in Edmund's chest. Though slavery persisted in the outer territories, his family had opposed such practices for generations. Back when humans still enslaved their own kind on ancient Earth. "Your asking price?" he heard himself say. Avarice gleamed in Zara's eyes. "For distinguished clientele? 12,000 credits. Preposterous. 4,000. 10, and that's generous for damaged goods." They settled on 7,000, and Edmund found himself purchasing a terrified azure-skinned slave. The transaction completed with disturbing efficiency. A biometric scan, credit transfer, and Zara's parting advice to keep her controlled. The girl now stood before him, shoulders hunched defensively, eyes fixed downward. "Your designation?" Edmund asked gently. She flinched but remained silent. "Do you comprehend my words?" Another slight nod. "Can you speak?" More hesitation, then a barely perceptible nod. "Then state your name." "Lyra," she whispered, her voice melodic despite obvious. "Terra. Lyra. I am Sir Edmund Ashworth. I've acquired your contract from Zara." Her eyes widened in panic. "Not for harm. I require assistance and you need ... He gestured at her condition. Better circumstances. Confusion replaced fear in her expression. A company. Emmy. Will arrange proper care and nourishment. As they departed, Edmund felt Zara's calculating stare. This impulsive decision would likely bring complications beyond mere expense. Yet, observing the frightened girl beside him, he felt no regret. What Edmund failed to notice was the flicker of recognition in Lyra's eyes as they left, or how her fingers briefly touched a concealed pendant beneath her garments. A pendant bearing symbols that would have given Sir Edmund considerable pause had he understood their meaning. Chapter 2. Revelations. The accommodations Edmund secured were modest by his standards. A 4-room suite in Nexus Station's premier lodging facility. However, judging by Lyra's awed expression upon entering, it might have been a royal palace. These quarters will serve until my vessel is operational, Edmund explained, watching as she hesitantly stepped onto the plush flooring. She jumped when the door sealed behind them. You're secure here, he assured her. No one will cause you harm. Her crystal blue eyes studied him with mingled fear and bewilderment. Why? She asked, her melodic voice barely audible. Why what? Why Lyra? What master require from Lyra? Her fractured standard bore heavy accents but remained comprehensible. Edmund sighed, removing his emerald coat and hanging it carefully. The action revealed his still powerful physique beneath fine clothing. Decades had been kind to him, maintaining his strength despite silver hair and beard. I'm not your master, Lyra. I purchased your contract to grant you freedom. Her brow creased. The concept clearly alien to her. Free? It means you belong to yourself, not to Zara or me. You choose your own path. She stared as if he'd sprouted additional appendages. Aquarians always belong. Is natural order. Not anymore. Not for you. He indicated the washroom. There's cleansing facilities inside. You can refresh yourself while I order sustenance. Lyra hesitated, fingers twisting her tattered clothing nervously. Is there difficulty? He asked. Lyra not understand cleansing facilities. Of course, who knew what primitive conditions she'd endured? For washing with water. Her eyes brightened remarkably. Water, real water. Yes, genuine water. Come, I'll demonstrate. In the washroom, he showed her the shower controls, explaining temperature regulation. Her genuine wonder at the water spray made his chest tighten strangely. I'll locate suitable clothing, he said. Turning to leave, her hand caught his wrist. With surprising strength. Stay? Help Lyra. Edmund felt his pulse accelerate. That wouldn't be proper. Why? Lyra need help washing. I'm not your master, he reminded her gently, extracting his wrist. Among my people, it would be inappropriate for me to bathe you. She tilted her head, studying him with fresh curiosity. Human customs strange. On Aquara, grooming creates bonds. Humans bond differently. I'll wait outside. He retreated, sealing the door, then leaned against it, exhaling slowly. The girl was remarkably beautiful beneath the grime and terror, and her innocent directness affected him more than he cared to admit. At 65, he'd thought himself beyond such basic impulses. While Lyra cleansed herself, Edmund ordered food and retrieved a medical scanner. When she emerged wrapped in a hotel robe that dwarfed her slender frame, her azure skin gleaming and silver hair slicked back, he nearly dropped the device. Improved? She asked, a hint of smile gracing her lips. Considerably, he managed. Come sit. Nourishment will arrive shortly, but first, let me examine you for injuries. She approached cautiously, settling on a chair's edge. As he scanned her, he detected multiple healed fractures, malnutrition signs, and the dental damage already observed. Your teeth, what occurred? Lyra's hand flew to her mouth, her expression darkening. Punishment. Zara said Lyra speak too much. Remove teeth so Lyra speak less. Fury blazed in Edmund's chest. That's barbaric, she shrugged. Normal for slaves. Not anymore, he said firmly. Tomorrow we'll locate medical facilities. They can regenerate your teeth. Her eyes widened. Grow new teeth like Centaurian. Something similar. A chime announced. Their meal's arrival. Edmund had ordered diverse dishes, uncertain of Aquarian dietary requirements. Lyra approached the table warily, sampling unfamiliar foods. This safe for Lyra? She asked, indicating grilled protein. I believe so. Aquarians are omnivorous, correct? She nodded, then hesitantly tasted the meat. Her expression transformed into pure bliss. Good, she whispered. Very good. They dined in comfortable silence, Edmund watching her obvious joy in such simple pleasure. Her delight in novel flavors fascinated him. Human food different, she said between bites. On Aquara, food is survival, not enjoyment. Food should provide both nourishment and pleasure, Edmund replied. She considered this, then smiled, a genuine expression that transformed her face despite her damaged teeth. Human ways interesting. After dinner, Edmund showed her to the second bedroom. You'll rest here alone, he emphasized when she appeared confused. Aquarians not sleep alone, is cold, lonely. Edmund ran fingers through his silver hair, uncertain how to navigate this cultural difference. It's customary among humans for unrelated adults to maintain separate sleeping arrangements. Lyra stepped closer, her winter sky eyes searching his face. Edmund not find Lyra pleasing? The directness caught him off guard. That's not... you're very ... He stopped, collecting himself. Lyra, you've endured trauma. You need rest, not complications. She placed a hand on his chest, surprisingly bold for someone so recently timid. Lyra understand human customs different, but Lyra choose now. Yes? You're free to choose, he said softly. Her smile widened, and despite her alien features and damaged teeth, Edmund found her beautiful in ways that transcended species. Lyra chose to learn human ways, but slowly. Tonight, Lyra sleep alone. Learn freedom. Relief and something resembling disappointment mingled in Edmund's chest. That's wise. Good night, Edmund. Good night, Lyra, he replied, her name sounding exotic in his accent. As he retired to his quarters, Edmund pondered the strange direction his life had taken. What began as searching for an assistant had become something far more complex and potentially rewarding. Chapter 3. Hidden Identity Morning arrived with his communication device's harsh buzzing. The mechanic's gravelly voice informed him that parts for his ship would require longer than anticipated. A week minimum. Edmund cursed quietly. A week on this frontier station was problematic, especially with Lyra to consider. Speaking of whom, he glanced toward the second bedroom where the door remained sealed. Had she rested well? The concept of solitary sleeping had clearly disturbed. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Enter, he called, sitting up. Lyra peered in, her silver hair now cascading freely down her back, clean and lustrous. She transformed the hotel robe into something resembling a dress, secured with torn bedsheet fabric. Good morning, she said, her melodic voice stronger than yesterday. Lyra, make tea. She offered a steaming cup. Edmund accepted it with surprise. How did you operate the synthesizer? Lyra, observe. Lyra, learn. Pride colored her voice. Human. Machines simple compared to hegemony technology. Hegemony? The name triggered memory fragments. A powerful consortium known for advanced technology and ruthless practices. Lyra's expression immediately closed. Nothing. Bad words. Lyra forget. Interesting. He filed the information for later consideration. We should acquire proper clothing before visiting medical facilities. Her hand flew to her mouth, covering her damaged teeth. Fix teeth today? If local facilities possess the technology. Her crystal eyes shimmered with emotion. Edmund kind. Too kind to Lyra. It's basic decency, he replied, uncomfortable with her gratitude. An hour later, they strolled through Nexus Station's commercial sector. Edmund wore his customary attire. Emerald coat over fresh linen, tailored trousers, polished boots. Beside him, Lyra still wore her makeshift garment, drawing curious glances from passers-by. Aquarians were uncommon in this sector, and one walking freely with a human aristocrat was unusual. People stare, Lyra whispered, moving closer. Let them. He replied, placing a protective hand on her back. You've nothing to be ashamed of. Her skin warmed beneath his touch, a subtle luminescence emanating from beneath the azure surface. An Aquarian blush, he realized. The reaction stirred something in him. They located a boutique serving various humanoid species. The proprietor, a four-armed Betelgeusian female, clapped her upper hands delightedly at seeing Lyra. An Aquarian. How exotic. We rarely encounter your kind. She circled Lyra, assessing her proportions. Slender, but well-proportioned. I have perfect items for you. What followed educated Edmund in both Aquarian physiology and fashion. Lyra required specific fabrics that wouldn't irritate her sensitive skin, cuts accommodating the subtle ridge along her spine and colors complementing rather than competing with her azure complexion. This one, the Betelgeusian declared finally, presenting a flowing garment in silver and pale blue shades. Traditional Aquarian design with contemporary touches. Lyra emerged from the changing area transformed. The dress accentuated her form. In some places, flowed freely in others, featuring intricate patterns that seemed to shift with her movements. For the first time, Edmund saw her not as a rescued slave, but as a woman, beautiful, alien, and increasingly intriguing. Edmund approve? She asked, turning once. Very much, he replied, his voice rougher than intended. They departed with several outfits, footwear, and necessities. Edmund's credit account considerably lighter. As they headed toward the medical district, he noticed a massive figure observing them from across the corridor. A draconian, reptilian, features partially concealed by a hooded cloak. Continue walking, Edmund murmured to Lyra. Don't look back. What wrong? We're being followed. Her steps faltered. Hegemony again. That name. Who are the hegemony to you, Lyra? She clutched her concealed pendant through her dress fabric. Bad people take Aquarians, make slaves. Enslave how? Before she could answer, the draconian moved, crossing directly toward them. Edmund's hand went to his hip where a concealed plasma pistol rested, a habit from his adventuring years. Behind me, he ordered Lyra. To his surprise, she stepped forward instead, her posture changing subtly. No. Lyra, protect Edmund. The draconian stopped several paces away, yellow eyes shifting. Between them, the female accompanies me, he growled in heavily accented standard. Hegemony business. She's under my protection, Edmund replied evenly. Human protection meaningless. Hegemony owns this one. I purchased her contract legally. From thief. Zara stole her. Now I reclaim. Lyra trembled beside Edmund, but her voice remained steady. Lyra under human law now. The draconian's scaled lips pulled back in a sneer. Human law worthless here. Hegemony claims what belongs to hegemony. This station operates under Terran Protectorate jurisdiction, Edmund said. I suggest you present your complaints to local authorities. The draconian's hand moved toward a concealed weapon. No authorities. You come now, female. Edmund's plasma pistol was drawn before the draconian could complete his motion. I wouldn't advise that. A tense moment passed. Then the draconian stepped back, hands raised. This isn't finished, human. Hegemony doesn't forget. He retreated, disappearing into the crowd. Edmund holstered his weapon, adrenaline coursing through him. Are you unharmed? Lyra nodded, but her skin had paled to lighter azure. Hegemony find Lyra. Always find. Let's reach the medical center, Edmund said. Then you'll explain exactly what's occurring. The Nexus Station medical complex was surprisingly modern for such a remote facility. The attending physician, Dr. Chun, was human. A reassuring sight. Dental regeneration for an Aquarian. Dr. Chen mused, examining Lyra's scans. Unusual but feasible. Their dental structure resembles human anatomy. He paused abruptly, frowning at the display. That's peculiar. What? Edmund asked. These genetic markers, Dr. Chun indicated highlighted. Sections of Lyra's scan. They're not standard Aquarian. They single quotes . He looked up, eyes widening. Sir, do you know what she is? An Aquarian female, Edmund replied cautiously. Dr. Chen lowered his voice. She's royal caste. These genetic markers are exclusive to the Aquarian ruling dynasty. They've been extinct for decades, since the hegemony occupation. Edmund turned to Lyra, who stared at the floor, her pendant now visible, a small azure gem set in silver, inscribed with unrecognizable symbols. Lyra, he said softly. Who are you really? Lyra's fingers trembled as they gripped the pendant. Lyra was Princess Lyra Andromeda, daughter of King Poseidon, last of royal lineage. The revelation hung in the sterile air. Dr. Chin's eyes widened further, and he immediately bowed respectfully. Your Highness, I studied Aquarian culture at university. I believe the entire royal family perished during the hegemony invasion. All except Lyra, she said softly. Royal Guard Captain hides small princess. Send away with trusted guardian. But hegemony find guardian. Kill him. Sell Lyra to slavers. Her speech pattern simplified as emotion overwhelmed her. I was 5 standard years old. Edmund felt protective fury surge through him. The hegemony still hunts you after all this. Time? Why? Royal blood special, she explained, touching her pendant. Contains genetic keys to ancient Aquarian technology. Weapons, defenses. Hegemony wants. Dr. Chin cleared his throat. The dental regeneration procedure is more complex now. Aquarian royals possess different dental structures designed to accommodate enhanced telepathic abilities. Telepathic? Edmund echoed. Royal Aquarians can form mental bonds, Dr. Chen explained. Usually with their own kind, but theoretically with any compatible species. The dental structure houses secondary neural receptors facilitating the connection. Lyra nodded. When teeth taken, Zara knew something, not everything. Made Lyra weaker, more vulnerable. Can you still form these bonds? Edmund asked. A faint azure glow suffused her cheeks. With right person. If Lyra choose, if they accept. Their eyes met, and Edmund felt a strange flutter in his mind, like gentle fingers brushing his consciousness. He gasped at the sensation. Sorry, Lyra whispered, breaking eye contact. Lyra, not mean to. With new teeth, control better. Dr. Chen observed them with scientific curiosity. Fascinating. I've only read about such bonds. They're reportedly quite intimate. Edmund cleared his throat. Let's address the immediate problem. The hegemony knows she's here. We need to depart Nexus Station immediately. My ship won't be operational for a week, he continued. But I have contacts, old allies who owe me favors. He turned to Lyra. First, we restore your teeth, then we disappear. Dr. Chun nodded. The procedure requires approximately 3 hours. I'll need to synthesize proper neural components. Do it, Edmund said. I'll arrange our departure. Chapter 4. The bond while Lyra underwent dental regeneration. Edmund stepped outside the clinic to make calls. His first contact was an old smuggler friend, Captain Rosa Martinez of the independent freighter Stellar Wind. Ashworth, you old rogue. Martinez's weathered face grinned from the cum display. Still seeking adventure in your golden years? Something like that. I need immediate passage off Nexus Station for 2. No questions asked. Martinez's expression turned serious. Trouble. The hegemony variety. A low whistle. Damn, Edmund. You don't do things halfway. I can be there in 18 hours. Usual landing coordinates, usual fee. Double it if you can make it 12. Done. See you at midnight. Next, Edmund contacted his estate on Terra Nova, instructing his security chief to prepare for guests and enhance protective measures. Finally, he called in a favor from a former intelligence operative, now working as an information broker, requesting everything available on hegemony activities related to Aquarians. When he returned to the clinic, Dr. Chun was finishing the procedure. Lyra sat upright on the examination table, looking dazed but radiant. When she smiled at Edmund, he was struck by the transformation. Her new teeth were perfect, luminous white with subtle iridescence catching the light. How do you feel? He asked. Strange, she replied, her pronunciation noticeably clear. But good, complete. She touched her jaw wonderingly. So long without, I forgot how it feels. Dr. Chen handed Edmund a small case. Supplements for her neural receptors. They'll need time to fully integrate. He passed over a data chip. Contains everything I know about Aquarian royal physiology. It might prove useful. Thank you, Doctor. Your discretion is appreciated. Of course. The hegemony has no friends here. He bowed again to Lyra. Your Highness, it was an honor. As they left the clinic, Edmund briefed Lyra on their escape plan. We have 12 hours before our transport arrives. We should return to the hotel, gather our belongings, then find somewhere less obvious to wait. She nodded, then suddenly froze, her eyes darting to a rooftop across the street. Observer. She whispered. Edmund followed her gaze and caught movement. Another draconian, this one with long-range scanning equipment. They're tracking us. We move now. They hurried through the corridors, taking random turns and occasionally doubling back to confuse pursuit. Edmund was impressed by Lyra's stamina and awareness. She moved with natural grace that belied her years in captivity. You're quite skilled at this, he remarked as they ducked through a service passage. Royal training begins early, she replied. Even before capture, I learned some skills. After ... survival teaches much. They eventually found refuge in an automated storage facility. Edmund rented a unit using a secondary identity, and they sequestered themselves among stacked containers. We should be safe here until nightfall, he said, checking his plasma pistol's charge. Lyra sat beside him on a crate, closer than necessary in the confined space. Edmund not asked questions about royal status, about Lyra's past. I figured you'd share what I need to know. She smiled, her new teeth gleaming. Humans different from other species. Others demand, take. Humans offer, give. She placed her hand on his, and that strange flutter returned to his mind. Stronger. Now Lyra can show, if Edmund wants. Show me what? Everything. Aquarian bond shares thoughts, feelings, memories. Her crystal eyes held his. Is intimate. More than physical. Edmund felt heat rise in his chest. Is it permanent? Can be, or temporary? Lyra controls. The offer was tempting. Dangerously so. Why would you want to bond with me? I'm just some human who happened to purchase your contract. Her expression grew serious. Not just some human. Kind human. Strong human. Human who gave Lyra freedom. Her fingers intertwined with his. Human who makes Lyra feel things. New things. The air between them seemed to thicken with unspoken possibility. Edmund was acutely aware of her closeness. The subtle scent of her skin. How her silver hair caught the dim light of their hideout. I'm an old man, Lyra. You're young, a princess. Age means little to Aquarians, she interrupted. We live long, value experience, wisdom. Her free hand rose to touch his silver beard. And Lyra finds human silver attractive. The flutter in. His mind intensified, and with it came whispers of sensation. Her emotions bleeding into his consciousness. Fascination, gratitude, and something warmer, more primal. Is this the bond? He asked, his voice rough. Just edge of bond, she murmured, leaning closer. Taste of what could be. Their faces were inches apart now. Decades of self-control warred, with desire in Edmund's chest. Lyra, A distant explosion rocked the storage facility, cutting him off. Alarms blared. They found us. Lyra gasped. The moment shattered. Edmund was on his feet instantly, plasma pistol drawn. Stay behind me. We're leaving. As they prepared to face whatever waited outside, the echo of that almost bond lingered in Edmund's mind. A tantalizing glimpse of what might have been, and what might still be if they survived the night. Chapter 5. Escape and New Beginnings. Storage facility's emergency lighting cast everything in pulsing red as Edmund crouched behind stacked containers. The explosion had come from the main entrance. A deliberate attack rather than an accident. 6 hostiles, Edmund whispered, checking his tactical scanner. Draconians, heavily armed. Lyra's breathing quickened beside him. Hegemony are elite hunters. They won't stop until capture Lyra. Then we'll disappoint them, Edmund replied, his voice calm despite the danger. He'd faced worse odds in his adventuring days. There's a maintenance exit 2 sections over, if we can reach it. A searing energy bolt struck the container above them, showering them with smoldering debris. Edmund pulled Lyra down as more shots followed. They have our position, he hissed. We need cover fire. Lyra's eyes suddenly locked with his, intense and determined. No time explain. Trust Lyra. Before he could answer, her hands clasped his face and her forehead pressed against his. The world exploded into azure light behind his eyelids as her consciousness crashed into his like a tidal wave. Bond now. Temporary for survival. Her thoughts flowed directly into his mind, no longer constrained by her limited standard. The sensation was overwhelming, alien yet intimately familiar, as if a part of himself he'd never known suddenly awakened. Yes, he thought back, surrendering to the connection. The bond crystallized between them, thoughts and sensations flowing freely. Edmund gasped as Lyra's emotions flooded him, Fear mingled with determination, and beneath it all, fierce protectiveness toward him that mirrored his own feelings for her. I can sense their positions. Her thoughts came clearer now. Royal ability enhanced by new neural receptors. Through her perception, Edmund suddenly felt the Draconians. 6 distinct presences moving through the storage facility, their predatory intent radiating like heat. Remarkable, he thought and felt. Her pleasure at his admiration rippled through their connection. Together now, she responded. Working as one mind in 2 bodies, they moved with perfect coordination. Edmund fired his plasma pistol precisely where Lyra sensed enemies, while she anticipated danger moments before it materialized. When a Draconian lunged from behind a container, Edmund was already turning, guided by Lyra's awareness. When energy bolts streaked toward them, they were already diving for cover, their movements synchronized through the bond. Edmund experienced flashes of Lyra's memories. Childhood in crystal spires, terror of the invasion, years of degradation and fear. She in turn glimpsed his past, a young officer in the Terran fleet. Later adventures as a freelance troubleshooter, wealth accumulated through both legitimate and questionable means. You're quite the rogue. Her thoughts teased as they ducked. Behind a power conduit. And you're quite the princess, he returned, feeling her amusement bubble through their connection. 3 Draconians down, 3 remaining. They were making progress toward the maintenance exit, but time was running short. Through their bond, Edmund sensed Lyra's growing fatigue. Maintaining the connection while under stress was draining her. Almost there, he encouraged, his mental voice steady and warm. A sudden wave of affection flowed from her, so intense it momentarily staggered him. Within it was desire, admiration, and something deeper taking root. The intimacy of sharing such raw emotion was more profound than any physical connection Edmund had ever experienced. Lyra. Later. She cut him off, but not before he caught her yearning response to his unformed thought. They reached the maintenance corridor, Edmund taking down another Draconian with a well-placed shot. Only 2 pursuers remained, but they were closing fast. The exit's jammed, Edmund growled, wrestling with the manual override. Through their bond, Lyra sent him an image, a specific panel on the wall. Power coupling, overloaded. Edmund fired at the panel without hesitation. It exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging the corridor into darkness. The emergency lighting failed to activate. Now they're blind. We're not, came Lyra's thought, tinged with satisfaction. In the darkness, her aquarium biology gave her perfect vision, which she shared. Through their bond, they moved silently down the corridor while their pursuers stumbled and cursed behind them. The maintenance exit led them into a narrow alley behind the storage facility. Edmund checked his chronometer. Still 7 hours until their rendezvous with Martinez. We need somewhere to lay low, he murmured, supporting Lyra, who swayed slightly. As she released their mental bond, the sudden separation left him feeling strangely hollow, like losing a limb he'd never known he had. Judging by Lyra's expression, she felt it too. That was ... he began. Intimate, she finished, her new teeth gleaming as she gave him a tired smile. For Aquarians, bond is special, usually for mates or close family. The implications hung between them, unspoken but impossible to ignore. What they'd shared went beyond tactical advantage. It had been a glimpse into each other's souls. It was an honor, Edmund said softly, meaning it. Her azure skin flushed with that now familiar glow. For Lyra too. She swayed again, more pronouncedly. You need rest, he said, concerned. The bond drained you. Worth it, she replied, leaning against him. Kept you safe. The protective impulse in her voice stirred something primal in Edmund. This alien princess had risked her energy, her very mind to protect him. A human she'd known for barely 2 days. They found refuge in an automated capsule hotel, the kind catering to spacers needing a few hours of sleep between shifts. The unit was tiny, little more than a bed with privacy screens, but secure enough for their needs. As the door sealed behind them, they were suddenly very aware of their proximity in the confined space. Lyra's crystal eyes, luminous in the dim light, held his. "When we bonded," Edmund said quietly, "I felt everything. Your past, your feelings." "Yes," she whispered. "Lyra felt yours too." "Then you know how I—" "Yes," she interrupted, moving closer. "Lyra knows, feels same." The air between them charged with unspoken desire. Edmund's hands found her waist, drawing her against him. Her skin was warm beneath the fabric of her dress, her body fitting perfectly against his. "I'm still an old human," he murmured. "And you're still an Aquarian princess." Her fingers traced the lines of his face, lingering on his silver beard. Age is wisdom to Aquarians. Royal blood means nothing without throne. Her newly perfect smile held mischief. "And Lyra likes this human very much." Their lips met in a kiss that bridged species and cultures, gentle at first, then hungry with days of pent-up desire. Even without the mental bond, Edmund felt connected to her, in ways that transcended the physical. As clothing was shed and boundaries dissolved, Lyra whispered against his skin, "Show Lyra human ways. Show Lyra a world without chains." And in that small capsule, hidden from the hunters that sought them, Edmund did exactly that. Epilogue. 6 months later, Edmund awoke to soft humming of an unfamiliar melody. Lyra sat at the edge of their bed in his estate on Terra Nova, her silver hair cascading down her bare azure back as she gazed at her reflection in the mirror. Her figure showed the gentle curves of pregnancy. "That's beautiful," he murmured, propping himself up. "An Aquarian song." She turned with a smile that still startled him with its perfection. "Royal lullaby for royal children." Her hand drifted to her abdomen in an instinctive gesture. "Lyra?" he said slowly. "Are you certain?" Her crystal eyes met his, filled with wonder and uncertainty. Aquarian royals compatible with humans. Bond helps, and ... She blushed that fascinating azure glow. "What we shared was very compatible."